Hey guys, All in Crypto here, and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, for another YouTube video. I hope you've all had a great Saturday. Happy Saturday. Well, it's certainly Saturday evening here, whatever time of day it is where you are. Today we're going to be getting into a few interesting things in regards to Cardano. This is going to be an update of sorts, but we're also going to be getting into, some of what's coming over the next couple of months in 2022 and why you guys should be excited. And you can see behind me, the article reads, Cardano is a better bet than Bitcoin and Ethereum right now. Now, the context of this article is definitely onto something because Cardano is in a number of ways more efficient than both Bitcoin and Ethereum. Certainly Ethereum, in regards to actually using the layer one. That brings me on to the next thing that we're going to talk about. This is from the mid-month development update that IOHK put out. I'm going to play this. The fact that this only got 6.4 thousand views, and this is really an update on how things are progressing. I'm not sure really what to make about that, but this was definitely something worth listening to. We're going to get into what's said. We're going to play a very short clip of them talking about dApps coming online and how there may be a little bit of congestion with the network, given Cardano's popularity and the fact that there could be multiple dApps launching at once. But this is all to come, and this spoke really about fortifying the layer one. So Cardano is a layer one and how they're working on getting it more scalable than it currently is. Personally, I think Cardano is actually on a layer one basis without any of the roll-ups, which Charles talks about in this other article that we're going to take a look at, him outlining some of the things that are going to be done in 2022. Personally, I think the layer one is actually quite capable in the sense that I think it's 280 transactions per second. Now, if you've used Ethereum, Ethereum works in the sense that you can use it. It's very expensive, of course, and can be quite slow. Cardano is going to be faster than that. But the main reason of me showing you that is to say that, even though, okay, on a layer one basis, if we see a huge amount of volume, there may be a bit of congestion, it's still going to work. And this is something Ethereum, Uniswap can deal with their sort of daily volume. So I'm not worried about Cardano performing at all. Yes, I do think there could be some hiccups along the way, but this is all part of the journey. We're very new, and that brings a huge value proposition with it. So we're going to be getting into that, of course. Let's take a look at this poll. Now, we mentioned this yesterday, but it hadn't quite completed. This was from Vitalik, and the poll, 43% of people essentially said that they could see Cardano being the cryptocurrency of the future, if you will. Now, considering that this was Vitalik, and typically a lot of Ethereum maxis, if you will, or people that are very heavily into Ethereum, aren't very Cardano friendly. So this says a lot, and this is really one of the secret weapons that Cardano possesses, the community. That's one reason you see a lot of developers actually going to move and build on top of Cardano and actually start to learn Haskell language, even if it isn't native to them, because they understand that that's where the community is. It's the people that use these technologies that are really going to drive the value in the long run. Short term, you've got VCs and a number of other things that can sort of pump and dump the prices, but in the long term, it's usage and utility that are going to win. So we're going to be covering that. Markets are a little bit here, there, and everywhere at the moment, in the sense that there's not really that much direction being taken. There is still the possibility that Bitcoin consolidates for a bit. I could see a breakout for Cardano to the upside, guys. I think that you've got a bit of a head and shoulders setting up here. This is not very neatly done, TA. I did tweet about it earlier, and we have sort of progressed, I believe, in the right direction, certainly before we sold off a little bit. So let's see if we get the continuation here. Remember, this is a 4-hour chart, guys. But regardless, what's coming for Cardano, and we spoke about it in yesterday's video, simply can't be stopped. And that's the turning on of all these dApps that are going to really drive the underlying demand for ADA. Something we're extremely excited about. So let's get into it. Let's start with this article. Cardano is a better bet than Bitcoin and Ethereum right now. This is from the NASDAQ. It's not the best wrote article. However, the concept of what they're talking about here is, in my opinion, spot on. You guys know I'm certainly not a Bitcoin maxi. I do hold both Bitcoin and Ethereum, but I think being a Bitcoin maxi to me is the equivalent of being the first computer that was ever created maxi. When everybody now has a smartphone, or a lot of people have smartphones in their pockets that are 1,000,000 times the computing power of the first computer that was ever created. Just because something's first does not mean it's the best. And if you look at what you can actually use Bitcoin for, it's a great store of value. It's proven itself as that. But what's the real utility there? And what people don't understand with these smart contract blockchains like Ethereum, like Cardano, Solana, BNB, is they have real utility in the sense that the use cases for them are endless. Smart contracts, essentially at the core level, remove a third party and basically allow you the freedom to know that something's going to execute without any kind of external interference. That's huge. That we often use this in a computing sense, but that could be the smart contract mechanism. In my opinion, is going to be what really is the backbone to a lot of the systems that we have today, in the same way that the internet is. But we've spoken about that a lot. So this is bet on Cardano's future. Cardano has a lot working in its favor, and its price is responding. Many people who immediately understand the world of digital coins and tokens see ADA as the future of the sector and expect it to eventually rival and ultimately replace larger cryptos such as Ethereum and Bitcoin. I don't really know where I think that we're going to replace Bitcoin and Ethereum. I think that Bitcoin, if it really does kick off and become the store of value that it's heading to be, and finds itself as a reserve for countries and so on and so forth, we're seeing a lot of emerging nations move in that direction. We reviewed the fact earlier that you can actually pay 10%. If you pay your taxes in Bitcoin, you get a 10% discount. And that's because the Rio de Janeiro Brazilian treasury essentially is looking to hold 1% of their balance sheet in crypto. So Bitcoin could attract a huge store of value market, but in terms of value that actually operates on a specific chain, these smart contract blockchains, I think Ethereum could actually flip Bitcoin. And I certainly think over a long enough period of time, if Cardano really succeeds in a lot of what they do, they actually could indeed do that. Now, I'm not talking in the next year, it might not happen in the next 5 years, but this is still a very early space, and picking a winner at this point isn't. I mean, there's in 2017, for example, a lot of the cryptos in 2017 that were about are no longer here. But Cardano, one reason we talk about it as much as we do on this channel is just because of how excited we are in regards to what they're doing. This is a crypto that I think is going to be here for a long time. And could we see that in the future? It's possible for sure. Cardano is where cryptocurrencies are heading, not where they have been. The fact that ADA is more energy efficient and superior when it comes to facilitating DeFi transactions and smart contracts makes it one of the most useful digital tokens and attractive options for investors who want exposure to crypto that haven't run up to exuberant prices. That's absolutely true. I agree with that statement wholeheartedly. Cardano is already where things like Ethereum are trying to go. And that's why, they've moved to ETH2 and kind of moved away from proof of work, etc., etc. There's a lot of first mover advantages. There's also a lot of disadvantages. And we're seeing this with something like ADA and some of these smart contract protocols. Let's play this clip, guys. I don't want to make this too long as it is Saturday. I know some of you may be going out or whatever you're doing, going for dinner, or just having a nice relaxing one like myself, staring at charts. So let's play this, and then let's get into the second article and kind of wrap everything up.
Before some of the other more exotic things I've talked about, like layoffs and input endorsers. But ultimately, Cardano is a permissionless network. Anyone can launch any application at any time. And additionally, there's a lot of excitement around Cardano in a whole bunch of different verticals, from NFTs to dApps to DEXs. So we are seeing an enormous number of projects who are nearing completion of development and are imminently going to launch. And if it so happens that in January, or February, before we roll out some of these scaling changes, we see excitement and we see dApps roll out together concurrently, yes, you can expect to see mainnet busy. And yes, you may have to wait a couple of extra minutes for your transaction to go through, depending on how busy it is at a given time. However, we have a really, really solid plan for scaling. And we also believe that right now, the network is in a place where it is secure, robust, and also quite performant. But we're going to be making these changes to make sure that we grow as the dApps grow.
Thank you.
So that was just a brief update. These are well worth watching. The fact it only got 6,000 views is a little bit alarming to me, considering that, if you were a stockholder of a big company, you'd certainly want to go and listen to the board meetings if you owned enough of the stock. And if you're as into Cardano as somebody like myself, these are critical to kind of understand what direction the project is not only going in, but how far along it already is. So what he spoke about there, we previously spoke about. Sunday Swap had wrote a tweet on this, or a thread on this. They'd also wrote an article on it, talking about the fact that, there could be a lot of congestion. In worst case scenario, you may have to wait days. I don't think that'll be the case, however. But this is just part of it, guys, and they're already working on making the layer one, which is already, in my opinion, certainly given the adoption that crypto's already seen and where it's at today, sufficient enough to deal with what's going on. But the main takeaway there is that there's kind of roadmaps to solving this, and this is some of Charles's quotes from, I think it was Crypto Capital Ventures. He did an interview with Charles. He had Charles on the show. It was good, very, very well, very good interviewer actually. And essentially, these are some tweets. And he's talking about Hydra and Mithril, which are indeed scaling solutions. One's a sidechain and one is a layer 2. This is also well worth a read, the article. IOG CEO Charles Hoskinson on which Cardano ADA goals are achievable. And he essentially goes on to say, I think everything will get done that I outlined. The sidechains, the pipeline, and important endorsers. The library optimism, Hydra and Mithril, now there are degrees and flavors, like there'll be more Hydra stuff to do, etc., etc. So all these scaling issues are getting tackled, but even with them not implemented, and you only really need things like having even 100,000 transactions per second is complete overkill at the moment. There's not one crypto out there that has anywhere they are fractionally running at the demand of that. However, Hydra potentially is going to get us to scale over 1 million TPS. Now, why would we need that? Well, if we see the real kind of adoption that we think we're going to, and we spoke about Cardano again in regards to Africa and how they're really trying to implement themselves there and encapsulate 1.3 billion users, then you're going to need that. Certainly if you talk about microfinance and you talk about stable coins being used as currencies, you'll need those high TPS. That's why we have Lightning for Bitcoin, the Bitcoin network, because Bitcoin simply can't handle it. Bitcoin's TPS are very slow. Ethereum's are slow, and Cardano's sufficiently faster. It's not the fastest, but then again, it doesn't really need to be. But it will be into the future, certainly when we implement some of these layer 2s. And it'll be doing that in a decentralized, non-VC backed way. So that's really the bulk of what I have for you guys. Remember, we do have the stake pool. ALLIN is the ticker. We've got the Discord in the description. I am trying to be a little bit more active on there. It's just I've been extremely busy, but we will get to doing some community talks eventually. I just need to set the time aside. I know some of the Discord members have been hearing that for a while. I do appreciate you all. And certainly, you know, in regards to everyone staking to our stake pool, a huge thank you, guys. It's got 1.6 million ADA, means we're going to be minting blocks every epoch pretty much. So our delegates will be getting paid out regularly. We'll establish we're now an established pool at this stage. So that's largely what I've got for you. I'm going to love and leave you on that note. Enjoy the rest of your Saturdays. We'll see if this plays out. It's looking like we are running into a bit of turmoil at the neckline, but I'm still actually think, you know, this could indeed be something that's setting up for ADA, and we see that continuation. Very messy little bit of TA. But we're not diving too much into TA on the short-term time frames. It's more the macro that we're looking at the moment, certainly given all the volatility that we're seeing. Thank you very much for watching, guys. I'll catch you all in the next YouTube video.